Hello, everyone. My name is Oleg Kagan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with LA County Library, and I welcome you to Becoming an Empowered Consumer. This program is supported in whole or in part by the U.S. Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provisions of the Library Services and Technology Act, administered in California by the State Librarian. And your presenter for today is Connor Johnson. Connor is a maker mobile librarian. That means he goes around LA County on a colorful van doing STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs for folks ages 5 through 99 and above. So on any given day, you might find them at a senior center, a school, a park, a library, and beyond. And today, he's in the beyond here on Zoom to help you become an empowered consumer. And with that, I turn the stage over to Connor Johnson.
Great. Thank you, Oleg. And good morning, everybody. Please give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Great. So again, my name is Connor Johnson, and welcome to Becoming an Empowered Consumer. So let's start by taking a look at our course description. So e-commerce today provides us with more options than ever before. This event will help you flex your purchasing power using tools and resources to research products, compare prices, and filter out fake reviews. You'll also learn how to protect yourself by reporting unfair business practices to authorities and watchdog organizations. So, put more simply, we'll be learning how to flex our purchasing power by researching products, comparing prices, and filtering out fake reviews. We'll also take a look at how to report unfair business practices. So shopping habits have changed a lot over the years. In addition to having physical stores, also referred to as brick and mortar stores, we now have access to a ton of online shopping experiences. These e-commerce sites, everything from Amazon and Walmart to small mom and pop shops that might be have a presence online, even if they're not in your local neighborhood. So there's some key differences when shopping between physical stores and e-commerce stores that we should just keep in mind whenever we're thinking about making our next purchase. First, we can look at the variety of products and stores and types of stores that are available to us. With physical stores, we're usually limited to what's in our immediate area, what's within driving distance, maybe a little bit further out if there's a specialty store. But with e-commerce, we have access to browse, hundreds of thousands, millions of products, all over the world that are often able to be delivered right to your doorstep. So some convenience there. The next kind of difference is in the information we have about these products. So if you go into a physical store, you're limited by what's actually there, and the information about those products are what's on the box and labels. And there might be a store employee that will hopefully have some expertise to help you as well to answer any questions about those products. And on the other hand, if we're using an e-commerce or online shopping outlet, there might not be an immediate employee there to look at, but there's usually not a problem with finding information. And it can also kind of be the opposite, where we're inundated with too much info. There might be hundreds or thousands of reviews, including photos, videos. It can be a lot to wade through, but we'll be giving you some tips for how to do some research to help you sort through it all. A final key difference between physical stores and e-commerce stores is how some of these e-commerce stores might make it a little bit more difficult to contact somebody. There might not be a phone number available on the website. You might have to fill out a form and submit your grievance or your issue through there, and there would be no guarantee of a reply from a store representative. In physical stores, we can talk to a manager, call the corporate office, we can escalate that maybe in ways that are less available with e-commerce sites. So just something to keep in mind. The bottom line being that as consumers today, we have a lot of choices. But being given so many options and opinions about products that we're interested in is essential in being an empowered consumer. I'm not going to advocate for brick and mortar or physical shopping versus e-commerce or online shopping. There are advantages definitely to both physical and e-commerce. The key is being able to choose what will give you the best experience for that particular purchase. For me personally, there's a lot of items that I pretty much always will buy online versus some items that I know I'm just going to go into the store to get every time that I need it. So you might be similar, but there's definitely advantages to both. So what makes for an empowered consumer? So empowered consumers are highly informed about the products and services that they're interested in. They aren't afraid to be hands-on with the products when that's available or an option. They're selective or discerning in their choices and buying decisions, and they're educated about reporting unfair business practices should the need arise. So we'll be going over all of these topics today. So one of the most important traits of being an empowered consumer is being highly informed about the products that are on your radar. A good way to find out about products or anything is to conduct some research. So first you want to determine your product needs. So that can require some pre-research, trying to find out if you know what you need, great. If you're not sure, you can try to narrow it down until you know kind of what you need. But once you've settled on at least a category or have some lists, ideas in mind, then you can proceed with a keyword search. Keyword searches can narrow down products that fit your needs. Keywords might be the brand and other descriptors that are going to fit your product. For technology, remember that you might want to add the year or a year to your keyword search. New technology is released regularly, and different years will often have different features, different specifications. So you want to make sure that you know what you're looking for. Or if you're not sure, then don't put a year, and then you can narrow it down from there. So for example, if you're needing an Apple laptop and you want the latest edition, the basic keyword search might be MacBook 2023. The more keywords that you include, the more specific your search is going to be. And again, sometimes you might want to broaden it. So going back and forth and being flexible about your searches is really important. And of course, the other keywords that you choose are going to depend on your product. For electronics, like our laptop example, you might include the screen size you're looking for, the hard drive size, other features that are available in certain models versus others. So once you've done your keyword search and you have a list in front of you, you're going to want to scan through those results and see which ones are the most relevant. So official product pages are often a really good source of information about a particular product. They're going to have the official specs. I like going to the official websites to kind of figure out what is meant to be legitimate. What are the cold hard facts about that product before we get a subjective opinion or reviews about it. But other good sources, you can search news sites, look for press releases related to the product, or even if there's been any product recalls. Look up product previews, videos about the product, reviews, of course, we'll be talking about that. And you can even compare store listings, looking at the prices and the features just online before you're ready to actually check out. So another good way to conduct research is using the internet forums and connecting with internet users who have similar interests. or even better, those who have and have already used the product that you're looking at. These users can usually be found on hobby or enthusiast websites, chat rooms, forums like Reddit. I go online and read through Reddit for tech stuff. I don't usually do any posting, so if you're kind of on the shy side like me and don't want to post anything, that's fine. You can usually find what you're looking for through doing a search engine search. And looking for other people talking about the product, even if you don't want to post about it yourself. So professional product reviews are another way to become highly informed about a product. Professional websites that review products, often give the basic outline of the product, in a pretty objective way. And then they'll have their own subjective analysis, details and opinions about certain products. You should almost always try to read as many professional reviews as possible. You want to form as well-rounded of opinion as on a product as possible. And you want to take a look at the profile for the person who's reviewing your product. That can help you inform you of the reliability of this person, and their subject matter expertise. What are their credentials? What are their interests? Do they seem to have, a pretty unbiased look at things? Do they always review this certain product this way? It might indicate some biases there. And obviously, of course, we all have biases, but we want to minimize that. There'll also be links to their other reviews, and we can see how long they've been reviewing for. So these are all great ways to research the product and the person that is giving you their opinion. That's important too. If they have an opinion that is contrary to how you like certain things, then you might be less likely to take their opinion on something similar. Another great aspect of these professional review sites, especially when it comes to electronics, is that they can do comparisons. So performance and comparison tests to see how, this hard drive, is different in performance tests with this hard drive. We would have to purchase those and perform our own tests to know those comparisons. So those are really useful. Like when I'm shopping for electronics, I'll look for the comparisons there. So another trait of an empowered consumer is that they are hands-on. So that means actively trying out different alternatives to products before deciding. For example, we see a picture of some candy there. So customers can often get free candy samples at candy stores. Other places that have free food demos are Trader Joe's, Costco. Take advantage of those. Try before buying. And even a lot of these services that are out there today are offering free trial periods. So this could be streaming services like YouTube TV or Hulu, or shopping services like Amazon Prime or Walmart Plus. So prospective customers can sign up and not pay anything and still see if that is going to be worth spending money on. So if you're thinking of utilizing one of those services or switching to one, look for a free trial. Take advantage of that. Try it out before you buy it. And for technology, such as laptops, tablets, smartphones, you can often visit stores in person with interactive product displays. So this could be like maybe Best Buy or Target, to try the products in person, even if you do end up buying them online. But being able to hold the items, see them, interact with them, press the keys, see how, using the product is going to be very different, and getting to experience it hands-on is going to give us a better opinion about whether that will suit our needs. So next, selectivity or discernment, being selective about the products that we choose. Again, we want one that's most suitable for you and your needs. Maybe it won't correspond with the professional reviewer. It won't always. We all have different needs and different things that we're looking for in our products. So along those lines, we want to try to avoid blind loyalty to a specific brand. So if we think about our candy example again, let's say you have your favorite candy brand, and it's a new kind of candy from them comes out. You're not going to necessarily go just buy that in bulk. You want to try it first. Trying before buying, removes the risk and uncertainty from the equation. And the stakes might be less so for something like candy, but big purchases. We want our dollars to go to what is going to be best for us. So that's being an empowered consumer for sure, is to remove as much risk and uncertainty from your decision as you can. So really think about what you're looking for, especially on those big ticket items. Take time to compare the features and avoid impulse buying. And I often have to remind myself that for these, what I think of as like the fun purchases, or if you're looking forward to buying a new phone, for example, not because yours, maybe went out and you have to get a new phone, but you want to upgrade, you want to look for a phone. You might, burn in a hole in your wallet to go pick one out. I have to remind myself, do research, do my due diligence. It can be harder for whatever you might deem as your fun product, but take your time. So as we strive to become empowered consumers, we'll also want to look at actual customer product reviews. So we just talked about professional reviews, but now let's move towards just regular customer reviews. But as empowered consumers, we're also aware that the problem with customer reviews is that you run the risk of encountering fake reviews. So unfortunately, it's become really common for there to be fake reviews. Obviously there are people that have motive, either the people that are putting out the product or whatever the motivation may be. There's no one size fits all, unfortunately, to tell what's fake. But there's some patterns and techniques that you can use to try to weed out these fake reviews. Some of those techniques, you want to look at the overall rating. Is it full marks, or 5 stars or 10 stars, whatever the score may be? Is it all stars, no stars, with no detail or backup evidence to say why they chose that? You can see a 5-star review without any info, and you're not quite sure what they base that on. Or alternately, a 1-star review without any explanation is a little suspect too. Having reasons and details in a review can make it more trustworthy. You also want to be on the lookout for poor grammar, spelling, or punctuation. These are all indicators that they might be paid reviewers or bots that are producing fake reviews. Of course, that's not always the case, but that's like that with all of these. Just kind of try and use your best judgments, look at the review as a whole, and we'll take a look at some examples in just a second. Another technique that we can use to spot fake reviews is to look at the history of the user to see, how they compare. Same with professional reviews. Take a look at what else they've looked at. If they've looked at a product that you've already know about or used, and their experiences are similar, that can be really helpful because they might be coming from a similar background or a similar suitability for that product as you. You want to look at both good and bad reviews to get the most overall and holistic look at a product. Signs of a legitimate review are going to be kind of the opposite of these. Greater detail, longer length, maybe even a photo or a video of the purchased product. When I'm looking at like Amazon Amazon reviews, if there's a photo, I'm scrolling to that one first. That's going to be a bigger sign that they actually purchased it and used it. And whatever their feelings on the product, they were motivated enough to review it and upload those photos. So let's take a look at these 4 reviews here. So these are all 5-star reviews, but there's a chance that some of them might be fake. The ones that are more likely to be fake, maybe you can take a look and make some guesses. I would say the first and the third are a little bit more suspect. It's just very brief. The details, nice, will buy again, easy to set up and use. They could very well be legitimate users who felt that way about it. But I'd be more inclined to take the opinions of maybe the second and the fourth review more. We can see on that second one, the customer reviewer even has a profile picture, has, a little bit more words there. And that last one, has even more details on there. And, some people will just legitimately leave the star review and not leave any explanation, but that's not, as a consumer that's looking at that product, that's not going to be as beneficial to me because I don't know what they liked about it or what they didn't if they left a poor rating. So this is one more example that we'll look at. So I'm not going to read the whole review, but we can see it's 1 star. So it does have one of those flags. But with this review, there's a lot of information here. And the information that they have actually corresponds to the photos that were posted. There's a lot of detail here. This person is talking about having purchased 18 hard drives. It looks like there's 18 hard drives in that photo. So I'm more convinced that this person had this experience. And I might be a little bit more wary about purchasing this particular product based on this review. It's just a really detailed review, and therefore it's more trustworthy. But we don't have to figure it out ourselves. There are some tools that can help. These are some of those services. So these are review analysis sites that do a lot of these analyses behind the scenes, using algorithms and ways of that they've been able to spot what might be a fake review. So the first of these is FakeSpot. So that launched in 2016 with an aim to build trust and transparency to the internet by eliminating misinformation and fraud, starting with e-commerce. So great, it sounds like a good goal to me. So FakeSpot is an app for your smartphone. If you want to use it on a laptop or computer, it's going to come as a browser extension. That means that you'll have to install a mini app for your browser like Chrome, or you can use the smartphone. But that can be used on multiple stores like Amazon, Best Buy, Target. Another option that we have that is only available for Amazon, but it's been around for a while, is Review Meta. So you don't need to install a browser extension. It's a standalone web service, so you can go online or use your smartphone and start inputting Amazon links. And again, it's only for use with Amazon. And there's a lot of these other analyses sites as well. So you can do a search for that. Just, a warning that, is always take these with, a grain of salt. These services are not infallible. They're not perfect services or tools, but we'll take a look at an example of Review Meta in action, and we can kind of see what they're aiming for. So this is just a screenshot, but it shows you what the Review Meta looks like. Again, Review Meta is for Amazon products only. So we can see up top, there's been a copy and pasted link of the Amazon product. The Amazon product details have been omitted for this particular screenshot. but they would be in that blue square. So if you see that big long blue rectangle, that's where the information would be for this product. But we can see the Amazon rating is 4.6 based on 203 ratings, 117 reviews. Review Meta put all of those into their analysis, and it spit out that it believes 9% are potentially unnatural, and unnatural is just what they use as a term for suspect, potentially fake. So it took out the ones that it felt were fake and did a readjustment. So we can see on here that it only removed 10 reviews, and it didn't adjust, it didn't change that score. And so that's a good indicator that a lot of these reviews are probably legitimate. If we scroll down from that site, and I apologize, I have to wake up my room. If we keep scrolling down, we can see and compare what this service deems most trusted versus least trusted. And it's really great because it tells you the reasons why. So for example, we can see the ones without trust. One of the labels there is one hit wonder. So that's a reviewer who's only just written that one review. Doesn't necessarily make it fake, but again, it's just one more indication that it could be a fake review. These aren't, infallible. There are mistakes to be made, but it's just one more tool to try and help us, make the best decisions possible and being an empowered consumer, and give us an idea of the general sense to how the product is being rated. So we also have some tools at our disposal to compare pricing on the same product. So pricing comparison websites give results from a variety of vendors. We can see there are a few of these tools here. Google Shopping and Bing Shopping, Bing being Microsoft's search engine. So these are really convenient, and their search results are integrated right into the web browser itself. I'm sorry, into the search engine itself. If you are looking for maybe a non-big tech option alternative, Price Grabber, there's a link there to check out that service, and it's older than the other ones. It's been around longer. So these are all options, if you're looking for comparing prices. This next slide is a screenshot. So on the left, there's a screen grab from searching Microsoft Bing, search shopping integrated. And then on the right side, we see the Google Shopping, the integrated search. We just did a quick search for laptop, and you can see what came up. They're pretty easy to use. You can then filter your results by brand or price to narrow that down even further. And clicking on them will, of course, take you to the product page. So these are all just great options if you are kind of looking for something and you want to look around and see what different prices are. So when we are shopping, we all hope our experiences go smoothly and that we're treated fairly. But sometimes that's not always the case. We talked a little bit about, holding the stores themselves accountable at the store level, escalating to management or corporate office. Sometimes that's not enough, or sometimes we just want to bypass that, and that's our right as consumers. So the final part of being an empowered consumer is knowing how to report unfair business practices to the right people, to the right authorities. One of those options we have is the Better Business Bureau. This is a watchdog organization. It's independent. It's not a government agency. It's actually a nonprofit that was formed in 1912, whose mission is to focus on enhancing marketplace trust. There's over 400,000 businesses in North America that are accredited through the Better Business Bureau. If there's enough negative complaints about a certain business or a company on the Better Business Bureau website, there's more of a chance that that company or that business will take actions to address your complaints. So that's how Better Business Bureau can help hold organizations accountable. We also have at our disposal the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC. So that is our official here in the US watchdog for consumer fraud. For if you've been a victim of fraud or want to report there's been an issue, you can contact the FTC. They're a government agency responsible for enforcing antitrust law and promoting consumer protection. So they can investigate and prosecute violations that are brought to their attention. Another government department that you can report to for unfair business practices and potential fraud is the FBI. You can actually contact the Federal Bureau of Investigation for consumer issues and let them know if you feel you've been defrauded. So these are just a few of the ways that you can empower yourself if you've been a victim or you have encountered something that you need to report. And of course, here at LA County Library, we have a lot of resources available as well for free. We have a catalog, and there's some e-commerce helpful books and ebooks that you can see on the screen: e-commerce power, e-commerce enterprises, e-commerce for beginners. You can also access our online learning, and that's through lacountylibrary.org/learn, where we have access to LinkedIn learning classes, Gale courses, all kinds of classes that cover all kinds of topics regarding technology and help in whatever topic you're looking for, including consumer protection laws. Anything that you're interested in, we probably have a database that will help you out. So there's some valuable tools to check out there. And we also offer programming, like these courses that we do with digital literacy every Thursday. And sometimes in library, we have consumer protection programs. So that's something to keep in mind also. And you can always talk to a librarian using these resources here, lacountylibrary.org/contact us. You can talk instantly to a librarian over the phone, text, or email, and we'll be happy to help you with whatever questions that you might have related to becoming an empowered consumer. So that's our presentation for today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Oleg, and we can begin our Q&A.
Thank you very much, Connor, for that insightful presentation, and not only insightful, but very useful and practical for our everyday lives. So many people do online shopping these days, so becoming an empowered consumer is useful. And just thinking critically about what you do online, including shopping, is worth the price of admission for this presentation.
Yes.
So for those who are interested, we are posting this presentation and sending you the slides on YouTube, and that'll be sent to you via follow-up email, probably early next week, if not earlier. Just so you know, if you missed anything, that's totally fine. You will be covered. So let's get to some of these questions. Somebody had asked earlier, what are some examples of professional review sites?
So the one that I use a lot is CNET, but usually I will end up just typing into my search engine the product, because the kind of product that you're looking for, it might be on a like a hobby type of website that I wouldn't be aware of what the professional reviewers are on that. So I know CNET is one of those major ones that it's going to probably come up in most of your searches anyway. But it's really going to depend on the product that you're hoping to find reviews for.
Yeah, CNET has been around for quite a long time, reviewing a lot of technology products. The only thing that I would be wary of with CNET is that over time they've skewed towards publishing a lot of press releases. So if you're just interested in news about technology, it's not so much, it's not necessarily a critical view of what's going on. It's more of a press release from the technology
Informative.
companies. But
Yeah.
the reviews though, I would say are still very much useful. If even if not to give you a sense of, I need to buy this product, where they give you a recommendation that you can use, they bring together a bunch of products and they compare them in objective ways. So you can see the specifications of all the products, like how powerful computers are, what kind of video card they have, all the kind of details that one would use, the criterion that one would use, that they put it in a neat table and maybe tell you about it. So that I find CNET very useful for that sort of thing. A review site that I really like for a lot of consumer products is Wirecutter. Used to be an independent site, and then it was purchased by the New York Times. So now it's like a New York Times Wirecutter. And even if I don't use all of the recommendations, I find that they're very useful for giving you the field and then giving you a very in-depth review, like what qualities did they use? How did they test it? What are the different things to look for when it comes to whatever product? So I've used them for, we just bought a vacuum and we used the Wirecutter recommendation to buy a vacuum. Even if it wasn't their number one recommendation, it was one of the other ones. But for us, that's what, because they described it so in depth, we said that one's fine. The one that maybe not their main recommendation. So yeah, there's quite a few sites, but I think I agree with you, Connor. You said that there's certain niche. I don't know. There's certain
I go back
specific
and forth
hobby
myself on
sites.
that one.
There's certain hobby sites that they'll like if you're looking for reviews on kayaks. There's something like camping equipment or something. There are websites and blogs that will do reviews on camping that might be better than some kind of general purpose site, because oftentimes the people that write for those sites are people who have a certain amount of expertise in um, in camping equipment. So let's move on to the next question. Yeah, there's quite a few professional review sites out there. And even if they have affiliate links, oftentimes they give you good information to lay the groundwork for your decision. So how do I access Consumer Reports magazine online with an LA County library card? That's a fantastic question, because this is one of our best resources for becoming an empowered consumer.
Right.
Connor, do you want to show how to do that, or I can show how to do it as well.
If you can get there, you can probably get there faster than me. I'll be happy to let you do that.
Sure. Okay. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna just bring up my Brave browser. So I use two different browsers for work. I use Brave and I use Firefox. No, I use Chrome and Brave. So I like Brave because when you go to YouTube, there's no ads and it blocks other ads. So Brave is a convenient browser. So here's Brave. Let's go to the library website, lacountylibrary.org. I also like that they're the backgrounds when it comes, they're always different. They're neat pictures. Why isn't the library website working? I think I might know. I gotta adjust something on my computer. It should be coming up any moment now. Just so you know, even us regular computer users aren't always able to bring things up with perfect finesse.
If
I'm going to stop sharing really quick because
yeah,
there's something
if not, I mean, I have our business resources center on the screen, but I'm not sure if that's where you were planning to navigate to.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's in one of the databases. So let me try to bring it up again. Our website is up. Our website shouldn't be down now. I think it's because my computer had a VPN working or something like that prevented it from. Yeah, there it's coming up now. That was not authenticated properly. So, but now it is. So let me share let me share the Brave browser here with the library website. So here's lacountylibrary.org. And here we are. It's been a little while since I've been to the um, Consumer Reports, but it's something that I've used before a number of times. So we're going to go to databases, And it's going to bring up a whole bunch of different stuff. And we're going to go to magazines and newspapers. We have a lot of different databases that you can use for free with your library card. Magazines and newspapers. And we're going to go to Explora, which used to be master file. Click on that. And they just changed their interface. So this is going to be new for everybody. I'm going to put in my library card number. I have mine memorized. I recommend memorizing your library card number if you're a hardcore library user. All right, here we go. And so there's various ways to get into Consumer Reports. So I'm just gonna type in, see if we can get the specific, there used to be a publications tab. I'm gonna type in Consumer Reports. Okay, so here's Consumer Reports periodical. So now once you search something, it gives you the advanced search. So here is where, so it already came up, so we could have clicked on Consumer Reports. So if you know the specific issue that you're looking for, then you can navigate to that specific issue. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to type in search options. We don't need peer reviewed range, so it depends on the range, but we can do in all fields. There should be a journal title, Consumer Reports. And now we're just searching Consumer Reports. And if we wanted, for example, cars, so let's do cars. And we can put that in like the title field. So the article title will be something about cars. So we know Consumer Reports is well known for their car reviews. So let's see what comes up when we type this in. The cars that save you money. So there's 639 results. Obviously, some of these are older than others. This one is May, June 2023. So I want to see if this is what a lot of people use when it comes to Consumer Reports and cars. So here we see published in Consumer Reports, April 2023, and some information about the article, some subjects. If you want to look at more anti-lock brake systems or knock in automobile engines, we can click on that. And here's the article, and we do have access options. So so there's an abstract that tells you kind of what it's about, word count. Let's see if we can just bring, so online full text. Let's look at that right now. Otherwise, you can download the PDF and that comes up on your computer. But since we're just in the browser now, let's look at online full text. So right now we're getting an error, and I suspect that error is because it may not like the Brave browser. So let me do the PDF and then I'll show you what that looks like. Well, it seems like we're having an issue with the PDF. So let's try it this way. So PDF. Let's see what happens when I download this. Okay, so now I can select what I'm downloading. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder. And then I'm going to just bring up the PDF and I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, it's going to come up in the browser. Perfect. So here it is. So with a slight snafu, but here we have the actual pages of the article. Most and least reliable cars, 2023. This looks like a Lexus NX 350 that's on there. And if we scroll down, I know this is too small probably for folks to read, but if you want this article, you can get it through the EBSCOhost, the Explora database. And I'll put a link to that in the follow-up email as well. So here's all the information, the trouble spots we check. And if we go down here, this is what so many people look for when it comes to Consumer Reports cars. So here's all the little circles. So as you can see, this quite a few pages of reviews. So that's how you get to Consumer Reports. That's I guess the best way to do it. That way you don't have to subscribe to Consumer Reports. You just get it. Yeah, Explora.
We have so many databases. You're definitely more familiar with all those ones and navigating.
There's quite a few out there. I've used that one, but the last time I used it, the interface was different. So you all saw me stumble around the interface trying to figure out how to get there. So if you get there and you're a little confused, know that me too. We found what we were looking for. So that's the thing.
I'm sorry?
You find what you're looking for in the end. That's the important thing. And the rest of the journey is the learning process. Okay, so we got Consumer Reports. Any opinions on PayPal's Honey? So I just actually learned what that was myself.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, oh, I remember learning about that a long time ago. Is that a
It's a browser
okay, it
extension.
applies. That's right. It applies
Mhm.
coupon codes at checkout. I did use that for a while. And then I think I just went through and like took off all my like browser extensions and stuff. And I never really missed it. So I guess that shows how often I used it.
Yeah.
But it was functional. So if you're not sure what Honey is, it's a browser extension that automatically finds and applies coupon codes at checkout. So I know there's some other
Yeah, it's not the only one out there that
extensions.
exists that does that. So a browser extension, for those who don't know, is a tiny program that you install right inside your browser, and it does various things. So there's some popular browser extensions would be like an ad blocker. So all of those random ads that come up, you can get a browser extension. You can install that into your browser, and it will remove all of those. There's also browser extensions that will, for example, bookmark sites to a different website. There's extensions like PayPal Honey, which uh, looks for you can use it when you're at the checkout of a website, and it'll look for coupons to potentially make whatever you're purchasing cheaper. And the way it does that is that it logs onto it sees what page you're on, and then it searches its database to see if there's any discounts that are available. Uh, from what I understand, I mean, PayPal is a huge company. I don't think there's any issues when it comes to security with PayPal Honey. But I would say that it depends on your view of privacy, because by using PayPal Honey, PayPal will know the things that you're buying. They'll know the things that you're searching. So they'll use that data, maybe not specific to you personally, but they'll use the data for marketing purposes, for data aggregation purposes. And if you're comfortable with that, then that's fine. The trade-off is that you get discounts on items. So like everything, it's not something to worry about in terms of your security, but it's just your feeling of comfort with what companies have your data. All right, so that's PayPal's Honey. And like I said, there's other extensions that do a similar kind of thing. I don't know of any. I don't use those kind of extensions, but I would say that if you're a person who likes to clip coupons, for instance, this is like the online version of clipping coupons. All right, let's see. Would you contact the FBI only if you didn't get results from the FTC? Or would you contact the FBI only if you didn't get results from the FTC?
I mean, it's going to be your choice as to who you want to involve first. I would say do the FTC first before contacting the FBI, because the FBI just has so many other, they have, their hand in a lot of different law enforcement fields. So FTC is all about consumer protection. And they're probably going to have the best and most reliable resources. But obviously, if you've reached out and are, getting satisfaction or not, non-responses, then yeah, take advantage of the FBI. I didn't know that you could report fraud and stuff to the FBI before this course. I don't think that's well known. I was like, maybe their FBI resources aren't being that tied up because people aren't aware of it. But it's personal preference. But I would start with the FTC, and then move on to the FBI if you need to. Just me.
It makes sense. So the next question is, how do you use a price grabber tool to compare prices?
We can. I'm like, I can share my screen and we can
Yeah, yeah, demonstrate. That's the
Okay.
best.
Go to.
Whenever I'm at technology classes, I'm like, by all means, please show me exactly what it looks like.
Okay, so can we see my screen?
Yep, I see the price
Okay,
grabber
great.
website.
So we can just start typing in something. So just kind of, so this the price grabber is the price comparison, similar to the Bing shopping and Google shopping. So we can type something in, or we can go to a category. Um, so let's go to digital cameras. There's a lot of things you can look for in here. Let's use the example MacBook 2023 and see what comes up. So you can see all these different options and who it's being sold by. Let's look at this first one.
Whoa.
Having some issues.
I think it sounds like it looks like Price Grabber is having some issues.
Let's try this second.
What's going on, Price Grabber?
Price Grabber might be down right now.
Or something, yeah.
Let's just
Try another one. Try another product. It seems like, yeah, there might be something going on with Price Grabber.
Let's see. Oh, let's look at kids' hats.
Why not?
Right. So this is.
Nope. Yeah, it looks like Price Grabber is having an issue.
Yeah. So I mean, we can at least see what the interface looks like. You know, it's browse by category or type something in. So you know, similar to we can do shopping.google.com, and so it's going to come up. We can do the MacBook 2023. And these are and this one has some local pickup options, you know, if you let it know where you are. All these just click on the first one. See if this one works. There we go.
No, I'm looking at Price Grabber on my computer as well, and it's also having the same.
It's doing it too.
Yeah, I think Price Grabber may be having an issue.
Okay. So your mileage may vary.
Google Shopping. Yeah, Google Shopping, I think I'm sure it looks like it works, but pricegrabber.com does not. Not at the moment.
Yeah. So these are those tools. You know, click and see where it takes me. It's wanting me to give permission to cookies. Fine. You know, back market. You know, I've never heard of this online retail outfit. You know, I might want to read about where it's based, you know, before I just start buying something on it.
Yeah.
You know, doing your research on the companies is also important. And if you know, if you're buying, you know, sight unseen, you know, online, you know, look at the return policy. You know, look to see if there's if there's a way to easily get a hold of the company. You know, because you know, you want to make sure you're as protected as possible.
It's so easy to create a shopping cart online these days. It's something that anybody, like if I wanted to create a shopping cart online with fake products, and I could do that in 20 minutes. So if you are linked to a site that you've never heard of, that's not a popular, well-known site, then I would say, yeah, what Connor said was very apt. You know, try to look at the about page where it's based, if there's contact information, you know, maybe even go type in the name of that website and reviews into Google, because if people have been scammed by that website, it's likely that somebody will have posted, you know, that, you know, whatever X website is not trustworthy, you know, they scam me, etc. Something's a scam. Or type in, you know, whatever the website is, scam, and you know, you might get things that come up. So yeah, there's quite a few, and those advertisements on Instagram sometimes for different clothing, it can be a scam, or at least if not a scam, then you might, at the very least, it's a kind of a middle range product. You know, the product may not look like what exactly it is, which is, I guess, kind of a scam. Might be hard to return it, that sort of thing. So yeah, just be wary. All right, let's move on to the next question. See if we can buy a MacBook 2020, new MacBook. How much those expensive laptops? Wow. But there's a variety of prices. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I see some refurbished options. So
Yeah.
I mean, these tools can be really helpful, especially for me, if I know I might want a MacBook, but I'm not sure if I need this year's, or you know, I'll take a used one, you know, if it's, you know, in good condition. So you can have all kinds of you know, different filters and way to you know, narrow down. I'm just gonna wake my light up again.
Yeah, and you get at least a range of prices for if you you got to look at the details to make sure you're getting like products. Comparing apples to apples, but you get a range of different prices, so you know whether the Staples nearby is offering a competitive price. So let's move on to the next question. What are the reasons so many US citizens and others around the world, especially elderly and senior citizens, become victims of various scams? Well, that's a great question, and one that's a little bit difficult to answer because it varies by person. But as far as trends go, and my point of view, and Connor, you may also have something to add to that. Uh, there may be a needs gap, so somebody might really, really need something, and that's going to shorten their kind of shorten their decision making matrix, and like in their mind. I'm using words that are not ideal for this. I need to simplify my words. The decision, if somebody's in a hurry to get something, if somebody really needs something, they don't always make the best decisions. If somebody doesn't know a lot about a certain product, so if you don't know a lot about computers or phones, and you go to a cell phone store or try to find something online, you may not know enough to make the best decision about the product. More uh, you may be more susceptible to somebody giving you the wrong information or misleading information. Whereas somebody who has a little bit more knowledge or knows exactly what they're looking for, may be able to go, is what you're saying actually? No, that doesn't sound right. The same thing as with, if you have a kind of a knowledge gap, you may not know what a good price for something is, and so you may pay a little bit more. Also, scammers are really good. I mean, I think many people, regardless of whether they're making hasty decisions or they have a knowledge gap, fall prey to scammers just because they've gotten a lot more crafty. They've gotten better. Phishing emails, for instance, and a phishing email is an email that you get into your inbox that looks like it's from a legitimate company. So it's maybe from a bank or e-shopping or whatever it is. And the email looks just like it's from Bank of America. But when you click on it, it goes to a different website. And those have become almost indistinguishable from actual emails from, say, a bank. And so that's another thing, that scammers are good. I mean, they're good in the sense of they're competent in at their craft, and they keep getting better. So that's why we all have to try our best to be empowered consumers, to be wary of things that we're not unfamiliar with or that seem a little bit odd. Verify information, do a research, ask other people who may know. I mean, I know that even though I'm fairly savvy with computers, I'll still do extra research. I'll still ask other people, like, this doesn't seem weird. Even when I get emails to my work inbox, if I see something that seems odd, I'll ask a colleague, hey, have you seen this? Is this something that's normal? And I'll double verify something if I get an email from a colleague that seems like it might not be legit. I'll say, hey, did you send this to me? Is this information that you need? So, being a little suspicious in some parts of our life is overkill, but when it comes to online, when it comes to scams, it's worthwhile. It's worth the extra few minutes. So I don't know, Connor, if you had other points of view on, why
Was it
so many
was
folks are
was the
susceptible to
question just
scams.
general about scams? I mean, you covered
Yeah.
that very well. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, just staying one step ahead. Staying one step ahead often means knowing what are the latest scams. Like, Oleg talked about, like, phishing emails, and if you're not aware that's a way that you could be targeted, you're going to be an easier target just from not knowing. So, these kinds of programs and educating yourself and being aware, just the myriad of ways that there are just so many people out there trying to take advantage.
Yep.
And people that are socially isolated are going to be, more at risk, of maybe being targeted and then falling for the scam.
Right.
Sometimes we talk about, I'm not sure if the question was geared about, sometimes older people are often,
Older people are mentioned. Yeah.
targeted. Younger people typically don't have the assets or the disposable income, whereas a lot of times, older adults do have so many at their disposal. And then if you add that, combine that with some social isolation, or just not, not being aware of these issues and the ways that they're targeted, it can get really insidious.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, I'm not saying that only older adults are scammed or anything. I was doing some research, and I think it said the number one demographic for getting scammed online is between 29 and 39, or something. Don't take that as gospel. I was
I'm
just
not that
looking it up.
surprised by that,
So
actually.
I'm sorry.
I'm not that surprised by that.
Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, you also have to look at the demographics of who is online a lot.
That's
And
what I mean.
I think,
The attack surface is much bigger for somebody who's 29 through 39. They have got online with their devices, they're online with the computer, multiple computers work. They've got so many attack surfaces. And how much time they do. I mean, like, that's my demographic too. How much time do we spend online? A lot. So all that time is available, where the potential for incoming scams is pretty high. Somebody in the comments mentioned, I think it's because senior or older people aren't as technically savvy as younger people. Many won't even use the internet because of this problem, getting scammed. And I think I would agree with what you said, Connor, that it's not necessarily age related. I think that being older, you're no more susceptible to getting scammed if you stay on top of things. Like you're in this class. I mean, you're here. You're attending our Thursday workshops. You're kind of reading the news. You keep up to date on things. You're wary of getting weird phone calls. Like, you get a phone call that says, your computer has a virus. We need to help you right now. Log into your computer. Give us your information. And you say, no, bye. Because that's a weird thing. So, I mean, I've worked with older adults for a pretty long time, and I know you have, Connor, has been presenting these classes as well. So, and the fact that people come on here on Thursdays and ask us interesting and insightful questions tells me that it's not about age. I think it's just about who a person is and what they're up to. So yeah, it's a problem. Getting scammed is a problem for everybody, all ages, you know, all wealth levels, all of us. So it's something that we all have to be aware of. All right, let's move on to what's next question. Oh, am I sharing or are you sharing, Connor?
I think my screen is up on. Oh, I was following along with you.
Oh yeah, there you are.
I learned best by doing, so I was
Yeah.
mirroring what you were doing. So
I
yeah,
just I was
it's
just
the
looked at the
same.
screen and I
It's
said, "Oh,
my
looks like
screen,
you're
but
sharing
it's your
Explore."
show right there.
Because I had just had that on my screen too.
Yeah.
Do you want to unshare? Well, actually, let's see. Somebody was sending a demo putting an ad blocker extension on. Can you actually, let's jump ahead to that because I have a question before that, but let's jump ahead. Demo how to put an ad blocker extension on, please. Can you just show in your browser where the extensions are? We're not going to actually put it on, but we can show, and this
So
is
I
in most
use
browsers.
Chrome, and it's this little puzzle looking piece. So I have a couple um, extensions loaded right now, I guess, to help with Adobe Acrobat and the security.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
so
if
yeah,
for most browsers, if you go into those little three dots, if you go to the options, there'll be a section that says extensions or something similar to that, add-ons, and it'll bring up what Connor has on his screen right now, and you'll be able to search on top of that screen, it says search extensions, and if you type in like ad block, um, it'll come up, and you click on it, and just make sure you go to the one that has a lot of reviews. Like you see, there's the stars. There's a few that have, you know, 285,000 reviews. Click on those and then read some, just make sure that it's, because somebody can create an extension and it can be a security risk for you. So just make sure that the one you're using has a lot of reviews, that usually will tell you that it's more or less legitimate. So yeah, there it is. And there's a few different options for ad blockers. It's ad block, best ad blocker. That's marketing right there.
There we go. Right. Just stop here. But
Best.
best ad blocker. No need to continue scrolling.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are.
All right. If you want to stop sharing, Connor, let's move on to the next question.
Oh sure.
That way. Yeah, there we go. All right. So what's your opinion of paid product review service like Consumer Reports? So speaking of Consumer Reports, I think that think it depends on what it means by paid. So for instance, Wirecutter, which I mentioned earlier, which is owned by the New York Times, they make money through affiliate links. So whatever they recommend, if you click through and buy it from their link, they get a little kickback for that. Do I think that affects the reviews? I mean, do I think that that affects, whatever the money exchanges and Consumer Reports affects the reviews? Probably not, or probably not a whole lot, especially for those review sites with a fairly high reputation that have been around for a long time. And even so, even despite the reputation, as a consumer, as an empowered consumer, so we're talking about kind of an empowered consumer, you can't take even professional review sites, even highly reputable review sites at their word. You want to read those, and those just data points for you, because your criteria for what you're looking for might be different than what the reviewer on the site is looking for. So for instance, when it comes to Wirecutter, I used Wirecutter for information to buy a coffee grinder. And, reading it said one of these coffee grinders is loud. And I thought, I'll take it. The trade-off between it being loud and the price and the quality of this grinder worked for me. I got it, I brought it home, wasn't that loud. I mean, coffee grinders are loud anyway. Um, not too loud for me. So, noise wasn't a criteria for me really, because I use a coffee grinder for 60 seconds a day. Nobody's going to wake up. Nobody's going to, so they might not recommend that coffee grinder or a car if it doesn't have a certain, consumer was like a car or whatever it is. If it doesn't have if it has a certain quality, it's too loud or whatever it is, or it doesn't come in a certain color, who knows? It's not that fast, but that might not matter to you. So I would say that you're always reading those reviews with your own critical lens. And so just even though it's paid, it may not be bad to gather information. So at the very least, you can gather specifications for the products, you can get an overall sense of the market for the products, the general reliability if you're talking about cars in Consumer Reports. But you also want to look at other sites, Edmunds, etc. In terms of when it comes to cars, there's a multiple car review sites, and that's the case for most products. Sorry, Connor, you may also have a
Yeah, no,
point of view
yeah,
on.
no, that was great, right? Like what may be suitable for someone else's needs, might not be suitable for you. So, again, the loudness of the coffee grinder didn't matter to Oleg, but for some people it might, and it turns out maybe it's not even that loud to begin with.
Right.
I mean, opinions are by definition, these are subjective. This is how I feel about the particular product because why. But I would just try to avoid reviews that say things are good or bad without giving a reason why. Or that's kind of when we start getting into the customer reviews where it's maybe it's 1 star, but it doesn't tell you why. That doesn't help you evaluate the totality of the product in any way, except that okay, well that person didn't like it. But I don't know why. Maybe it was too loud for them and they rated it 1 stars. But that wouldn't have any bearing on whether it would be useful for me.
Yeah. It's the
So
features. I mean, it's the features that matter
right,
to you.
right. Just what you need or what you're looking for in that particular product. So take what people are saying about professional reviews, customer reviews, and filter through that. What take what will be useful to you and forget the rest.
It's
Because
very important
everybody's
that
got a lot of opinions about a lot of things.
you brought up the reasoning. I mean, what you're trying to read there is you're trying to read the reasoning of why the reviewer thinks a certain way. And if they don't provide that context and explain why are they giving this thing 5 stars, and that context and that explanation doesn't make sense to you, then that review is not useful for you. But also, it's important to consider uh, that some reviews, particularly technology reviews, will often have a certain variation of a presentism bias. So something is newer, like a currency bias, something is newer, that means it's better. And that's not always the case. Just because a TV has, you know, 4K or something, or the screen of a cell phone is like OLED or some kind of like fancy new designation doesn't mean it's actually better than what came before, or better in a way that matters to you, just because reviewers very excited about it. So tech reviewers tend to be excited. They like the new stuff. They're excited about the new stuff. And says, oh, this new cell phone, the screen is, almost inside it. But really, it's practically the same as the one that came before it to the naked eye, to most regular people. Same thing with cell phone cameras. They're all so good these days that the newest one, it's this much vaunted product, has 15 cameras on the backside. Like, who cares? The pictures that you can take on in your 5-year-old cell phone are still really good. So, that difference may not be as big as all that. So yeah, that's just things to consider. Okay. It's like a whole program on like, let's talk about reviews. All right, so let's get to this next question. What is the best source to report and get some positive results from bad deals? I was duped a couple of times via purchasing from China. Story too long to get into, but there's no harmonious resolution, no money back, just a horrific experience. I think that harkens back to what you said earlier, Connor, when it comes to looking at websites that you're unfamiliar with. So the return policy, right? The contact, and if there's contact information.
Right. And
Yeah.
and then when one good thing when we're purchasing online is it's often with a card through a major bank or something, so that's another avenue to look at. If you can't get the satisfaction from the web outlet, you could always try and do a charge back or whatever you want to pursue.
That's a really
through
good
that.
point, actually. The credit card chargebacks, you can call your credit card, and many credit cards will say, yeah, we'll take care of that for you.
Yeah. So that's kind of like I think of it as like a last resort, or if a first resort, if you can't find any way to contact anybody from that website or whatnot. But yeah, I'll try to stick with the online retailers I'm familiar with. And then if not, because there's a lot of specialty stores out there that they don't have name recognition, or like the mom and pop stores from another state, are just as legitimate. But usually those ones they'll at least give you like a phone number or an email address, something, if they are like a true mom and pop shop or whatever category you want to say that, they want repeat customers. If it's a fly by night operation, operating, on some shore somewhere, they might not be as concerned about making sure all their customers are satisfied. So
Yeah, they want to make
part of
that
that
quick buck.
research is, sorry.
They want to make the quick buck and then
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on to
and
the
they,
next thing.
once they have, the exchange of money, they're like, okay, that's all they need. So just try to be aware of where you are purchasing from and what the terms and conditions of that purchase are, before you make it. And if not, the avenues, exist to try and get some satisfaction if you've been scammed or dealt a bad blow.
Mhm. So there's a question about camel, camel, camel. Do you use camel, camel, camel? Are there any other options?
That's for Amazon only, right? Because I used, I've used that in the past. I generally don't anymore. Should I show it? Probably give
No, I
you.
think it's good enough to explain. Camel, camel, camel is a price tracker for Amazon. So is it an extension also? Is it a browser
I
add-on?
only ever use it as the website, as a
Okay.
separate
So,
website.
so it's a website. Okay. Yeah, I don't use it, so I don't know, but surely there are other options. There are other companies that do a similar thing. I don't know what any of them, but that's probably a Google search away.
It will so you can look at a product, and it will give you like the 30-day history, say, of the price, so you can see whether that price goes up and down, fluctuates. You might say this is the lowest price it's been in 30 days, or you can see that, like it comes down pretty regularly in price, but it hasn't for a while, so maybe I'll wait. It's another consumer tool. So that's camel, camel, camel. And I was thinking about that as I was learning this presentation, and I was wondering if that might get brought up. I haven't, again, used it in years, but I used to.
Yeah, if you want to speculate on the price of products, then it's a good tool to use. All right, let's see here. There's a recent Vice episode about scam factories. I'm not surprised. Vice is a publication that gets into that kind of stuff, the seedier aspects of society, and scam factories certainly seem to be one of those. What is a scam factory these days but a call center in many ways?
Platforms.
Right. When buying online, use credit card rather than debit card for protection. Exactly. Good point. That's, I think, what Connor just mentioned. If you buy using a credit card, many credit cards will offer you consumer protection that's beyond purchasing with the debit card, so that if you do happen to get scammed, or if you get a product that you're not that is not what you expected, and the seller is being non-cooperative, you can often call your credit card company, do a chargeback or whatever that company calls it, and the credit card company will just refund you, and they'll take on the task of getting the money back. So yeah, that's a really good point. Use a credit card rather than a debit card when purchasing online. What are some reputable websites to sell books? Why would somebody sell books? You buy books and I'm just kidding. Amazon.com,
Yeah, I mean
Abe
that
Books
started as
owns it.
just, if anybody else remembers, that started as just a bookstore,
Mhm.
right?
And
Amazon.
you can sell used books on there. If you're talking about, there's more specific websites for like antiquarian books, which Amazon now owns Abe or ABE Books, but there's other websites that are similar to that, where you can sell books. I think thriftbooks.com is another popular website for selling books. They're selling particularly used books. If we're talking about selling new books, like if you're an author and you're trying to sell your books, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I mean, Amazon is probably the biggest seller for used books. Yeah, thriftbooks.com is also another big one. I don't know if bookshop.org lets individuals sell their books. I think it's primarily for independent bookshops. So yeah, between Amazon and Thrift Books, you're pretty good. But there's quite a few other sites for selling books. And the main thing that you're looking at when it comes to reputable sites for selling books is whether there's a lot of users. I mean, are there a lot of people selling their books on there? And if there are, then chances are then that it's probably more or less reputable. I mean, somebody could put up a fake website with a whole bunch of pages, but that would be a lot of effort. One thing you might do if you're looking for is to try to purchase a pretty inexpensive book on the site just to see how it works. And if for like $1 or something, buy some kind of used James Patterson book, or better yet, something that's if James Patterson's not useful for you, some book, just buy for $1 a book that's interesting to you, and just see if the website works well. But yeah, just make sure there's a lot of people on there, a lot of reviews on there, and make sure it's a site that's well used. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Yeah, I'm just waiting for a second, see if anybody had any last minute, if anybody out there has any last minute questions for us. We're here, and if there's a question, we'll try our best to answer it. In the meantime, I'm going to post the post-event survey into the chat. That survey should also come up when we finish the program. But if you do have a moment, we would be very appreciative if you fill out the survey, give us all your feedback, positive and negative, any topics that you want us to cover in the future. It is very much appreciated, because why do we do these programs if not to respond to what you need? That's why we do the Q&As, to answer your questions. Ideally, the interests that you all have are also interests that we have when it comes to sharing important computer information, other technology too. All right, well, thank you very much, Connor, for your great presentation, and thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you next time.